Joining us now to talk more about this is Dr. Stacey Dunn. She's a professor at Rollins College. Hello, you. It is always good to have you here with us. And that's one of the things that you and I were talking about. It really has hit a nerve with us parents because we see our teens spending an awful lot of time glued to their screens.
We do. That's when we lift our heads up from our phones.
That's right. Because we're doing the same thing. That is so true. That's a great point. Yeah,
so
we're doing the same thing.
On trying to influence them, but forgetting sometimes that we set the example.
Yeah. So how do we decide what kind of, mental effects that could have on our kids? Because sometimes I'll say to my youngest son, who's 11, here, listen, just go ahead and get on your phone for a little bit because mom's got to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z.
Right.
What kind of a mental toll could that be taking on it?
Well, we're seeing lots of effects related to depression and anxiety, and not all social media is the same. So there are some things that some children are doing online that actually helps them develop, but more often than not, when it's teenagers, they're engaging in so much social comparison, looking at these images and messages as if they're real. So we really have to engage in media literacy, helping them understand people are only posting what they want you to see.
And that's the thing, is that it's almost like a false sense of reality. But because their teenage brain isn't completely all the way mature yet, they're not looking at it the way that we as adults are looking at it, that this is not reality. So it becomes more of an aspirational thing. They want to become this person who's not real.
Right, and become more dissatisfied with themselves.
Right.
And so that constant social comparison is really detrimental. And you mentioned the teenage brain.
Yeah.
It's like there are some studies that show that getting a text or having someone like your photo, there's this dopamine release. Like it's almost like drugs for them. That there's such reinforcement from getting that kind of attention because that's part of being a teenager.
Right.
Now they have this technology that's wreaking havoc, I think, with their sense of self.
So, yeah. So how do we get them, Dr. Dunn, away?
Right.
I'm asking for a friend.
Right. Right. Well, I'll be your friend too, because it's hard.
Yeah.
I think we have to be really intentional.
Okay.
So going back to being a good role model and not being on your phone, being intentional and not using it as a babysitter. It's just easier to take the path of least resistance and let them just be on their phone at any age. That said, we have to be careful with the rules that we set, that children often will push back, right? And so I've worked with parents who've made rules about you can't be on this app or that app, and those kids then work with other kids to find back channels. They were using Google Docs to communicate with each other.
Isn't that crazy?
So
and things that we don't know, we're not as savvy about that.
Exactly.
Right?
They're going to win every time.
They're going to win.
The key is have them do more of what you want them to do. So rather than trying to pull them away from this, push them toward a little bit or give them some encouragement to be outside more, to be engaged with other people, to have good conversation and have zones where it's just not okay. I mean, we've been really strict about no technology at the dinner table ever. Not at a restaurant, not at home, not when someone's trying to talk with you. And so trying to create that sense that your values are being shared with them instead of just rules and trying to block them when they're going to try to outdo you.
Do you think, though, that films like Screenagers can help kind of get that conversation started?
And they're really focused on showing it in community settings because they want to get that conversation going. So I know my daughter said, oh, sure, I won't be on social media. You'll make me like a loser. Everyone, I won't know what's going on, and people won't be able to connect with me. So all this social pressure because all the other kids are doing it. Well, if we as parents come together and say, well, actually, we're going to limit the extent to which this is happening, it makes it easier to do in community.
Yeah, because when we were growing up, this was not even, I mean, we actually talked to each other, rode our bicycles out in the street and had a good time, and you know what I mean? And I just think it's such a different world now.
It is, and we can't take it back.
No,
I know. You can't get the toothpaste back in the tube.
No.
We have to deal with what it is and try to shift it. So I was listening to you talk about what children don't know about politics and all of that. If it goes viral, they'll know.
Yes.
So we have to be mindful of, it's kind of like diet. We make sure they get fruits and vegetables, but we're not making sure that their diet in terms of media is healthy and balanced too. So making sure you expose them to things that are positive and reflective of what you think your lives should be about.
Great advice as always, Dr. Stacey Dunn. Thank you so much for coming by. We appreciate you, and we do want to mention that